Sports.com pregame show live from Larry Davis Field in Willows, California. I'm Frank DiRienzo with Nick Dobus on your destination for high school sports, PlayOnSports.com. Tonight's matchup features the visiting Orland Trojans against the host Willows Honkers. Orland comes into tonight's game with an overall record of 1-1, while the home team Willows is also 1-1.
That's right, Frank. This is not only a matchup between two of the division champions in the northern section last year, but this is also the 89th installment of the Battle of the Axe. The home team, as you said, comes in 1-1, ranked 17th in the northern section. They opened up the season with a strong start with a 38-8 win in Gridley, but the Honkers couldn't hold on to their halftime lead and lost a tough one last week to Winters 19-13. Despite the Honkers losing this rivalry game 52-0 last year, they returned all but one of their starting offensive linemen and their entire defensive line. So they got a lot of size and a lot of depth and experience on both those lines, but it's really going to be the lack of depth for the position players, which could be a question mark for them. So going into this matchup, I believe the big question for the Honkers here tonight is, can they get that early lead, get the home cooking on their side, and really put the Trojans on their heels here?
And I think it's also important to note the fact that this is a pretty big rivalry here in these parts, and these teams have known to hate each other in the past, and since this is the 89th installment, I mean, it's a very storied history here. I mean, like you said, going back to 1922, I believe.
One of the very earliest games is 1922, that's right.
And that's a long time to boil some bad blood.
Well, and that boil kind of started a fire on the field last night, actually. One of our press guys told us that you can make an educated guess on the fan base who did this, but apparently at about 2 a.m. last night, firefighters arrived at this field with a ring of fire circle on the field, and that's why you see that big purple W, just to kind of cover it up there. So obviously not only do these two teams not like each other, but this is definitely a rivalry that goes back generations as well. And
the same guy was also telling us that that has happened in the past before, and he said he was not surprised that happened last night.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Well, the Trojans fans and their faithful are going to have to bring a lot more firepower and whatnot. The Trojans entered this game, as you said, ranked 1-1, ranked 8th in the northern section. They opened the season in championship form when we last saw them, 31-6. And a win over Anderson, but suffered a tough 19-7 loss to Central Valley up in Shasta last week. So I think a big question mark for the Trojans going into this week is, can they force Willows to be one-dimensional, because they gave up a lot of rushing yards to Central Valley last week. So they're going to need to really lock it down on the ground. Key players tonight for the Trojans are, that's right, the return of the boot, or La Bota for our Spanish viewers there. Aldrich Rosas, number 8 in your program, I believe.
Yeah, who was our player of the game 2 weeks ago.
Absolutely, Frank. Reading up a little bit on him, not only did he set a section record last year with 56 touchbacks, but him and his team are also in pursuit of the section record for the field goal, which is about 58 yards. So I think he's got to be a big factor tonight for the Trojans, because he can pretty much, once he crosses that 50-yard line, he's in range. And I also think that dual-threat quarterback Jordan Long needs to have a really big game here tonight. This is a big rivalry game. Coach McDonald will be really looking for him to, facilitate and instrument that offense in order to be effective as well.
Absolutely. And as I'm looking out over the crowd here, it's you got to know this is a rivalry game, because it looks like everybody in 2 counties is here right now.
And you can definitely feel the electricity in the air here tonight. Everyone's pretty excited about this game. Players are excited. Stands are starting to get packed to the gills here as well. And the Honker faithful will really be looking to Kyle Wyckoff, their running back, who had 13 carries for 97 yards last week. They're going to need him to see the end zone, though, if they really want to have a good chance against this Trojans defense. And speaking of defense, the Honkers will be looking for the Candelaria brothers, both Jacob and Trevor, who are not only the leading tacklers for this team, but really the defensive soul as well. So look for them to have a big game tonight in order for the faithful in order for the Honkers to come out on top this week.
And they're also captains on this team as well. Well, that's going to do it for tonight's PlayOnSports.com pregame show. We'll be back with a kickoff in just a few minutes. Friday Night Football begins next on your destination for high school sports, PlayOnSports.com.
That's fine. I mean, you're not going to hurt me if you turn it up, so that's good.
Well, I can adjust what you hear right here.
Uh-huh.
So. Welcome back to Friday Night Football on PlayOnSports.com, coming to you live from Willows, California. I'm Frank DiRienzo with Nick Dobis on your destination for high school sports, PlayOnSports.com. Today's matchup features the 1-1 Orland Trojans visiting the 1-1 Willows Honkers here on Larry Davis Field. Tonight's officials, the referee is Kimball Shirey, the umpire is Troy McIntyre, the back judge is Craig Parrish, the field judge is Kevin Erskine, and the linesman is Nicholas Bauer.
Well, it's time to put all the talk away and, play some football here. And I think both the fans and the team are ready to get this one underway.
I think they are ready, too, as the Trojans set up here.
Unfortunately, I think the Honkers are more than likely going to start on their 20-yard line with a kick from from Rosas here.
Oh, no doubt. With how many touchbacks did you say they had?
He set a Northern Section record last year at 56 touchbacks.
56,
so
wow.
He's probably very much on pace to break that again.
And Rosas, and the kick is away, and it's a line drive into the end zone, and it's going to be a touchback, and there we go again.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely going to be a factor in this game. As I said earlier, we were watching him warm up before the game, and he was not only making 40-yarders look good, but he was also, I think, hit one or two 55, 56-yarders. So in a game where the Trojans' offense might not be clicking that much, if they get some positive field position, they can still score from distance.
So the ball will be placed on the 20-yard line as we wait for some personnel shifts here. And it looks like Willows is just about ready.
Looks like the Trojans will be coming out tight in that 6-2 defense.
And Chino Esparza is the quarterback under center now, and the snap, and it's going to be a handoff to the big fullback, and he's going to get a couple here.
Yeah, expect a heavy dose of running here from the Honkers. The Trojans defense, they gave up over 300 yards rushing last week, so expect the Honkers to keep it on the ground at least for the first part of the game.
That's a bunch. And Trevor Candelaria was on the carry there, and it looks like it's going to be 2nd and 5 here on the 25-yard line. And he's under center. And here's the snap, and it's going to be another handoff to his running back this time, and he's going to get stuffed and maybe a couple of yard pickup here. And it looks like it's going to be a 3rd and manageable.
Very manageable here, Frank. And also obviously the big first third down in the game is always a big third down. So we'll see if the Honkers come out running here again, and we'll see if the Trojans can put a few more guys in the box or maybe blitz Rosas from the safety position.
And I believe that was Noah End on the run there. And it's going to be 3rd and 1 here on the 29-yard line.
There's Rosas right up on the line.
And it's going to be a handoff to their fullback yet again. And he's going to be stuffed at the line, but he might have gotten enough. But looking at the referee, it looks like it might not be enough to get it.
Pretty generous spot there, and it looks like it's good enough to move the chains here. So first down in the game for the Honkers.
So I was mistaken. So it's going to be on the 30-yard line here. With 10:20 left on the clock here.
Nothing but straight power football here for the Honkers so far. Let's see if they keep giving the Trojans defense a heavy dose of that.
And Esparza is lined up under center. And it's going to be a pitch to the left side to Noah Ends. And his run's going to end just about 2 yards there on the pickup. And they're running again, and we have not seen a pass yet in the last 6 plays.
Right, and that was really good pursuit on the play by Rosas from his safety's position. Might be a little bit careful, though, because the Honkers might be thinking about a play-action pass here and catch Rosas and this Trojan defense off guard.
So with 2nd and 8 on the 32-yard line. Here's the snap. It's going to be a misdirect to ends yet again. And he's going to be pulled down in the backfield, and this is going to be a loss here.
Yeah, good read by the defensive lineman there to follow his lineman out on that misdirection play. Didn't get fooled by any of the misdirection in the backfield. It's going to be a big 3rd and long here to start for this Honkers drive.
And it looks like it's going to be 3rd and 11 at the 29-yard line now as the clock gets down to about the 9-minute mark. And Esparza's lined up. And he's going to drop back for the pass, and he misses a defender. And he rolls out, and he passes it. And it is incomplete to Eduardo Briones. And he just missed it there, and it's going to be a 4th and 11.
Very good coverage there by the Trojans defense. They had a man, looks like the Honkers did have a man open downfield there for a second. Number 8, Jack Foley, but it looks like the quarterback couldn't quite get him there, and it's going to bring up a 4th down here.
So with 8:42 left here on the clock, their punt team's going to come out here. And the punter's going to be Kyle Workoff. And it's going to be down here at just about the 39-yard line.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be too surprised here, too, to see the Trojans coming out running the ball because the Honkers did also give up 250 yards on the ground last week. So we could be seeing a lot of old-school football here, just like this old-school rivalry that's date back all the way, as far as we've found, back to the 1920s.
And that was Zach Garzoli with the return. Of course, he didn't return it.
He'll be in the backfield, though, right here.
And it looks like it's going to be a handoff, and he misses a defender, and it looks like it's going to be about a 20-yard pickup there, maybe even 19. And Zach Garzoli picks up a bunch there.
Well, the Trojans opened up last year's rivalry game with a 70-yard run by their quarterback, and that's not very encouraging if you're on the Honkers defense as well.
And here we go, Jordan Long. It's going to be set up here in shotgun formation. The ball's on the 36-yard line, and he's going to hand it off yet again, and some positive yards there, and so it looks like it's going to be about 5-yard pickup there.
Yeah, Garzoli reminds me of Sam Savercool, who we saw last week for Pleasant Valley. Very short guy, low center of gravity, but really keeps his feet churning. Even though he's a small guy, the Honkers defense are going to have to, put 2 or 3 guys on him, and if they want to bring him to the ground.
And he's pretty much got a prototypical running back stats here, 5'9", 165. And with another handoff to him, he's going to be stuffed here at the line. And it looks like it's going to be a loss here.
Now, the last time we saw this Trojans offense, they like to do that pump fake out to the outside and go deep. It's pretty good territory to do that here, so we'll see if Jordan Long puts it up in the air against the Honkers.
And with 3rd and 4 to go on the 30, he's going to roll out to his left, and he's going to launch it down the field, and it's going to be caught for a touchdown.
Heck of a grab right there, Frank.
Oh, man.
I don't know if you were able to see it but I got a little bit glimpse of it. Our boots are a little bit hard to see, but the receiver made a fantastic catch on the play there.
And that was Kavi Ram there, and we certainly mentioned his name 2 weeks ago in the other Orland game that we saw. And it looks like he picks up another touchdown here. And that was just a beauty of a pass.
Absolutely. Great catch, too. He juggled it, was able to bring it down, find the pylon, and score.
And the kick is through. And looks like Orland's going to be on top here. 7-0. And with just under 7 minutes here to play, the Trojans, fire on their first possession.
And the first pass of the game as well. And if you're Jordan Long, that gives you a lot of confidence in your receivers and in your offensive line to give you the protection you need. We'll see if the Honkers continue to try to run the ball here, or if they try to get fancy with the passing game as well. But that touchdown easily put a little bit of damper on the hometown here.
Yeah, and it certainly quieted down here a couple notches.
Plenty of ball game left here, though, that's for sure. And we will have the boot set up again.
With Aldrich Roses. The only kicker I've ever seen that wears a cowboy collar.
Could be a new trend starting, who knows?
Right, and it's the first person I've seen in a long time that plays all three: special teams, defense, and offense.
Absolutely.
And does it pretty well.
He is the glue of this team, that is for sure.
And the kick is going to be away, and it is a long one. And it looks like it's going to be a touchback, and it's out of the field. And it's going to be across the street there where all the cars are parked. And it's going to be another touchback, second one of this game.
Yeah, I myself regret parking on that street over there. Kind of worried my Monte Carlo might get tagged by one of Rosas' balls. What a leg on this kid. And not only is he a football player, but he also plays soccer as well. And
well, hence the boot.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's got a pretty good leg on him. And as Chino Esparza heads into the huddle here, we're just about ready at the 20-yard line. Like I said, just under 7 minutes to go. And the Willows will be looking to score here, and this will be their second possession. And here's the snap, and it's going to be a handoff. And he's going to go nowhere.
Yeah, good move by that defensive end to stay home. Not to shut off that block and make that tackle on the line of scrimmage, because if he would have broke that tackle, he actually would have had a pretty nice game there.
And that's Kyle Wyckoff, and he stands at 5'10", 175, so also a guy who has a low center of gravity as well. And here's the snap, and it's going to be a fake to the left, and he stops, and he throws back across his body, and he's got a reception, and it looks like he's going to gain about 12 yards, and that's going to be Steven Johnson on the reception.
What a great vision there by Esperanza to not only extend the play, but to see his receiver on the backside and actually get something out of nothing there. Now, it looks like the Honkers are really trying to go on the long pass plays here, but let's see if they try to get something short so Esperanza doesn't get smashed in that backfield.
And that was a bit of a dangerous throw, because whenever you throw against your body, you always run the risk of getting picked by a safety.
Absolutely.
So very risky, but high reward there. And the snap. And it's going to be a little bubble screen out here to Johnson, and he's going to slip on the field and get down just about there. And it looks like he's going to take a little loss here of about 2 yards, and it's going to be second and long.
Yeah, even if he would have stayed on his feet right there, big number 42, Charlie Tice, kind of had the read on him from that linebacker position. Good pursuit by that Trojan defense. Second and long here, probably going to try to, get a little run play here, try to make it a third and manageable for the Honkers offense.
And even though their running game showed some moderate success here in their first possession, they're running into some trouble here with their second. And the snap, and he's going to fake it and then fake it again. And it looks like it's going to be Noah Enns on the run there, and it looks like he's just going to get back to.
A nice little draw play there. Good play call, but just didn't work out too well. Sometimes the linebacker just kind of sees ahead of the play, and it's going to be another third down here for the Honkers.
And right, 3rd and 10. So they got back to the chain marker there. They're about the 33-yard line. We've got about 4:45 left in this game now.
Looks like we're going to have a blitz off the edge here.
And we have a snap, and he's going to roll out to the right, and he's going to pass it downfield, and it is caught by Steven Johnson yet again, and it looks like it's going to be fumbled, but it's going to be picked up by Willows. And a heads-up play by Chris Walter there to fall on it, and it looks like they're going to have a first down.
Absolutely. The Trojans tried to come with a Cobra blitz right there, tried to send the cornerback from the weak side to get Esperanza, but he made the nice throw and a nice heads-up play there to pick up the loose ball. And that's got to be a throw that's really gets some confidence into Esperanza as well. So
it's Esparza.
Esparza, excuse me. My apologies.
And with Esparza under center. And he's going to drop back. And the pocket collapsed, and he's going to roll right. And it looks like he's going to run with it. And it looks like he's going to pick up maybe half a yard and run out of bounds here. And that'll stop the clock at 3:42. And it looks like they're going to have a 2nd and 9 at just about the 44-yard line.
A very solid tackle there by number 82, Justin Smith, but Esparza really showed he can get his nose dirty there. Not afraid to take the hit, pick up some yards for his team. And it looks like the Honkers are going to try to keep going with that rollout pass because their pocket isn't really staying sustained for that long. So look for Esparza, to be running out of the pocket a lot this evening.
And 2nd and 8 on the 43-yard line. And he's going to drop back. He's looking for a receiver, and he's going to dump it out here to number 32, and he's going to go nowhere. He may have gotten back to the line of scrimmage, and that's going to be Kyle Wyckoff.
Yeah, it looked like tried a little slip screen there with the tight end, but just didn't get the positive yardage the Honkers were looking for. So it's going to bring up a third down here of the first quarter with about 3 minutes and 15 seconds to go. But, Esparza's really shown his capability here, or his escapability, I should say, here in this first quarter.
And with a 3rd and 9 on the 39-yard line. And he's going to drop back and roll out to the left. Yet again, he's looking for a receiver. He's going to pass it downfield, and he's going to overthrow number 27, Steven Johnson. And it's going to be a 4th down. And they're not in field goal range for this kicker, so it looks like they're going to bring out the punt team.
And that's the right choice here, though. Give Orland the long field. Let them prove that they can actually manage a long field and march all the way down the field.
And I think they're going to go for it here.
Well, in a rivalry game, you can pretty much throw anything out the window. So.
Right, and not only throw everything out the window, but you want to leave nothing in the tank because
Absolutely.
This is a rivalry matchup that if you win this, it could just mean mountains of momentum for your team going into your future games here.
Absolutely.
And under center. And he's going to drop back and roll out to the right, and he stops, and he throws down the middle, and it is caught by Eduardo Briones. And that's going to be enough for the first down. It looks like he's down to about the 28-yard line. And that was a pretty nice call by the coach there.
Very nice call, very bold call, but you know what? Fortune favors the bold sometimes. And definitely favored the Honkers right there. Let's see if they can try to put 6 on the boards here in the next couple minutes.
And so the Honkers are ready here as 2:30 is left on the clock. It's going to be at the 28-yard line, 1st and 10, and it's going to be a timeout and by the Trojans. Do you want to watch more of your school's great matchups like the game you're enjoying here tonight? Tell your school to sign up for the PlayOn Sports School Broadcast Program. The program allows schools to broadcast all their games and other activities on the web. For more information, go to playonsports.com/SBP. And the Honkers are moving pretty good here in this drive.
Yeah, big fourth down conversion right there for the Honkers to, get this home crowd into it and put Mother Momentum on their side.
Mother Momentum, I like it. I'm going to have to use that one.
Careful, she's my mother, so you have to ask.
Oh, your mother's name is Momentum. Oh,
That's
I see. And with the official's whistle, we're out ready here to go. And Esparza's behind center yet again. And it's going to be a handoff, and he makes it out to just past the 25-yard line at the 24.
Yeah, the Honkers. Sorry.
That was Noah Enns on the carry.
Yeah, Noah Enns had a lot of room there with the double tight set that the Honkers had right there. Looks like they'll be trying to enforce a lot of power football on this Trojans defense, which gave up a lot of yards last week.
And as the clock winds down to 2 minutes here, it's 2nd and 5 on the 25 here in the first quarter. And it's going to be another handoff to Enns, and he is not going to get around the end here. Yeah. And it looks like he might even get a loss here, or he might have just made it back to the line of scrimmage, but either way, it's going to be a 3rd and 6, maybe even 3rd and 4.
Yeah, the youngster was definitely looking for the sidelines there, but he probably should have cut back in, and we'll see what this penalty, which was just thrown happen is.
Yeah, it's going to be unsportsmanlike conduct on the Willows team, and it looks like the players down there are getting a little chippy.
Well, it's always going to get chippy in a long-standing rivalry game like this. But you know what? You got to contain the excitement and the emotions of the game, especially as a senior. This is your last Battle of the Axe game. You want to bring the axe back, but you're not going to be bringing the axe back with penalties like that. And
well, of course, if you were to ask the players, they'd probably say it was worth it, since it's their last Battle of the Axe game. And it looks like it's going to be a timeout for Willows here with 1:30 left, and they're going to have a 3rd and 19 on the 39-yard line. So not very good field position here on 3rd down.
Not very good, but they've shown some promise in the passing game, especially with Esparza rolling out and making some connections with his receivers. So expect some sort of rollout, maybe to the wide side of the field to make this either a first down, or I can definitely anticipate them going for it on 4th down as well. And we were talking about last season's game or whatnot, but last season's game ended in a 52-0 victory for the Trojans, which was the 2nd largest margin of victory in this rivalry. 2nd largest since dating back to the 1922 game when the Honkers handled the Trojans 63-3. Back when my great-grandfather was just a wee lad, these guys were playing football. So that's very impressive that the rivalry has been this long-standing.
And Esparza's behind center, and it looks like he's going to pass, and it's just a little pass out to Briones. And he's not going to have enough to convert the 3rd down, and it's going to be 4th and 19. And it looks like this is going to be it's going to be about 4th and 10, so, excuse me. And they already converted a 4th and 19 last time, and we'll see if they can do it again here.
Yeah, going to need a little bit of the magic here again to make this happen. This is not an easy play, especially when the Orland defense is expecting the pass here. Could expect maybe one of the running backs to slip out of the backfield and run a wheel route as well.
And it looks like Steven Johnson's going to be in motion here, and they're going to have 2 receivers on the left side. And it's going to be a delay of game against the Honkers, and it's still going to be 4th down. And that's going to push him back another 10 yards. It's going to be a 4th and a mile.
Absolutely, and it looks like penalties are going to kill them on this drive as well. But it appears that they're still going to be going for it, so unless we can see a little quick kick by the quarterback here.
And here we go. Esparza drops back. He's looking for a receiver, and he's going to pass it out. Oh, and it is nearly intercepted there by the defensive back. And that's going to be Zach Garzoli on the coverage.
Really unfortunate that drive there stalled up for the Honkers. It looks like they had a lot of good stuff working, especially with that fourth down conversion. But, you know, penalties will kill you. The personal foul put them back, and the delay of the game is also inexcusable, especially after a timeout.
So they're not going to convert the fourth down here, and it's going to go right back to the Orland Trojans, right on the 35-yard line, on their own 35-yard line. And Jordan Lawn is in the shotgun set, and he hands it off up the middle, and he's going to get maybe 1 yard. And he handed it off to Garzoli.
Nice read by Jeffrey Bateman, the linebacker, on that play right there. You're going to need a lot more tackles on on Garzoli in order to keep this Trojans defense on the other side of the 50-yard line.
And with the sound of that gun, that is the end of the first quarter. The Orland Trojans are up by a touchdown. And we'll be right back for the second quarter.
Pretty quick first quarter there. Yeah, no, you sound pretty sharp too. Yeah.
I'm sorry, am I still on? Geez, I meant Coca-Cola. Ready. And we're back here. And it's going to be a fumble on a play. Recovered by the Trojans. And it's going to be a third and long here.
Yeah, it looked like a little miscommunication between the running back and the quarterback there. But it's going to bring up a third down.
And here we go with Long. He's going to drop back, and he's going to launch it down the field, and it's going to be over to the head of Aldrich Roses, who is wearing number 8 tonight, even though I have number 7 on my roster here.
Yeah, it looks like they tried a little gimmick play with Rosas there. Long had him open, but just couldn't quite make the conversion, so it looks like the Trojans, unfortunately, will be punting away.
And it looked like Rosas, who got overthrown on that play, is going to be back for the punt here. So he's the punter, the kicker, the safety, and a receiver.
And a receiver as well, you know. At this rate, he might be assistant coach.
Yeah. He might just be announcing his own game, maybe. And the kick is away, and it looks like he missed it a little bit there. And it's not going to go very far, and it's going to be down right at the Willows 48-yard line.
Yeah, and he knows he goofed up on that kick there. It looks like it came off his foot a little bit. That's why it spiraled out to the left side. Not too bad a field position here, but if you're the Honkers, you're happy that punt didn't end up at about the 20 or 10-yard line.
Of course, I'm sure he would have liked it to go a little bit farther than that, but that's going to give the Honkers very good field position here on the 48-yard line. And this is their best field position of the night. And they're going to line up with a 2 running back set here. And he drops back, and he's looking for a receiver, and he's going to throw it, and it's going to be low. The intended receiver was Steven Johnson on that play.
Yeah, and I bet Esparza wants that ball back. He had plenty of coverage, even had both his running backs, plenty of protection, even had both his running backs to protect him there. He just got to step up and make that throw to get some positive yards.
Right, and what I saw there was a little hole in the zone there.
A little bit, yeah.
And if that ball was thrown right, we could be looking at a 2nd and 5 right now.
Yeah, they have found those gaps in the zone, so and they're going to keep doing that until Trojans say otherwise.
Here we go. Esparza's going to roll out to the right, and he's going to pass it off here. Number 21, he's going to pick up maybe 3 yards here, and that's Noah Enns yet again. And it looks like that's going to be his favorite receiver of the night so far.
Absolutely. He's been running all those short routes. It looks like the Honkers are kind of doing a combination of the rollout to send the deep and some flats out to the outside. See if the Trojans can pick up on that and make some adjustments. As I mentioned, this is the 89th installment of the Battle of the Axe, and the record between these two is the Trojans lead 44-43-1. So very, very hard-fought rivalry over the years.
Right, and looks like if Willows pulls it out here, they'll tie it. And Esparza rolls out to the left, and he's going to launch it downfield. And he had Stevie Johnson, but it was just out of the reach of his fingertips there, and that was on a 3rd and 7.
Yeah, looks like Johnson had about maybe a half to a quarter a step on Rosas there, but that was it because Rosas was breathing down his neck. But good play to try to get the home run ball there, but it's going to bring up a 4th down.
And since it was just off his fingertips, it's going to be about 4th and 7 here on the 48-yard line, Orland's 48-yard line. And it looks like we're going to have a punt.
Looks like it might be Esparza. Oh, nope, never mind. 30. Jeffrey Bateman on the punt.
And with a fair catch, it's going to be Isaiah Smith. And it looks like they're going to take it at just around the 15-yard line, maybe less so.
Yeah, the Trojans had an opportunity in the passing game the last series, so we'll see if they try to do a little gimmick play with Rosas again or try to go with something else in the air here. But the running game has also been mildly effective as well.
And Jordan Long takes the pass, and he hands it inside, and it's going to be a fumble. And it looks like a Willows player has landed on top of it in Orland Trojans territory, and that's going to give them fantastic field position here.
That is a huge break for the Honkers there. It looked like a complete miscommunication between the quarterback and running back. I don't even think the running back was expecting the ball in that play because the ball just dropped to the ground and sat there like an egg for a few minutes, and the Honkers pounced right on top of it.
So with the ball on the 16-yard line, they have just about that much to make it to the touchdown.
That's
I'd
right.
say.
Just about that much.
Yeah. With just under 10 minutes to go here. And here we go with Esparza under center. And here's the snap, and he's going to hand it off to the left side, and he's going to go nowhere. He's going to get dropped in the backfield.
Looks like that was number 76, Ben Howard, who the last time we saw him up in Anderson had 4 sacks in one game. So he's really the Trojans really need him to step up here to make a huge red zone stand.
And that's the first step there as they get dropped back 3 yards. It's going to be 2nd and 13 on the 19-yard line with 9:20 left here in the second quarter.
Yeah, I would expect another little rollout pass here. Get Esparza in space. Try to find his receivers in that zone.
And Esparza is going to hand it off again to the left side. And he skips a defender, and he's going to be brought down right about the 16-yard line. So he got just back to where they started from. And it's going to be a 3rd and long here on about the 16-yard line.
Once again, that was Charlie Tice on the tackle right there. We've been calling his name early and often from his linebacker spot. Be interesting to see if they do come out with that pass here to the wide side of the field, which has been a tendency of theirs in this first half for the Honkers.
And they're going to have the big fella in the backfield here, number 52, Jacob Candelaria. And they're going to hand it off to him on the right side, and he's going to try to muscle his way up, and it looks like he gained just about 3 there. And that's not going to be enough to convert the third down.
No, but it sets up the kick nicely here for your kicker for a nice straight-on kick. Let's see if they bring out the field goal unit.
And that would bring it within 4, and that is manageable at this point of the game since the first half here is winding down. About 8 minutes left to play. It looks like it's going to be a 4th and 6 on the 12-yard line. And it looks like they're going to go for it for another 4th down conversion here. Right. And they converted their last one, so we'll have to see if they convert it again here.
Coach Ward, a bit of a riverboat gambler here.
And he's going to roll out left, and he's going to toss it, and they're not going to convert it here, and they're going to turn it over right on the 12-yard line.
Yeah, it looks like he had the man open there, just didn't have time to Sparsa didn't really have time to set his feet and make a nice throw because he had the pressure in his face. Good goal, red zone stand by the Trojans, though. Shift momentum back their way after that turnover by the offense.
And that was Eduardo Briones, the intended receiver on that one. And it looks like the Trojans are ready here. And Jordan Long in the shotgun form, as what they've used. And it's going to be handoff inside, and he misses a couple tackles here, and it looks like he's going to pick up just about 6 yards on the play. That was a pretty good run there. And that's going to be Zach Garzoli.
Yeah, he's been getting that nice 3-4 yards a pop we've been talking about in the last broadcast. Looks like the Honkers are going to have to move their linebackers up.
And receiver's in motion, and he's going to roll out right, and he's going to toss it down the field, and it's going to be Roses with the catch at just about the 44-yard line. And good concentration to pull that one in.
Absolutely. Same play they tried to run earlier for the first down. Leak Rosas out of that wingback position. Nice concentration, not only to catch the ball, but to look to see where he was on the field to put not only 1 but 2 feet down for the first down here for the Trojans.
And with that, they're going to be on the 43-yard line here with just under 7 minutes to play in the first half. And it's going to be a handoff to Garzoli up the left-hand side, and he's going to be tackled down at, halfway between the first down markers, so it's going to be about a 2nd and 5 here. And it looks like on their own 48-yard line.
Yeah, I was actually watching the fullback over there for a second. I thought he was going to break it for a touchdown, but Garzoli had the ball. Had me fooled there.
Got to get up pretty early in the morning to get one past
That's right.
Old Nick here. And it's going to be a little bubble screen out to the right, and he picks up a bunch of yardage here, and it looks like he's going to have enough for the first down, and that's Kavi Ram with
nice
the pass, and the chains are going to move.
Nice little wrinkle in the offense there to throw the quick flare pass out to the wide receiver. Now you got those linebackers and corners thinking, quick outside passes, so let's see if they go for the deep ball here pretty soon.
And we're ready again here. And it looks like Jordan Long's going to be lined up just about a yard back from where he usually is on the shotgun, and now he creeps up. And it's going to be a motion again, and it's going to be a handoff to Garzoli. Yet again, he picks up just about 3. He's stuffed at the line there.
And it looks like the Honkers are going to be giving Garzoli that ball all night. That defensive end's been crashing, not letting them actually has been reading, defensive end has been reading Jordan Long pretty well, not letting him to get outside and just giving the ball to Garzoli. So we'll see if Jordan Long makes a read and pulls it and keeps it himself.
And that Orland offensive line is making some good blocks here. And it's been working. If it's not broke, don't fix it. And with a pass here, he's going to pass it out to Kavi Ram yet again, and it looks like he's going to take a loss here. And it's going to be 3rd and long.
Yeah, the Honker.
It looks like they put it at just about the 48-yard line.
Yeah, it looks like the Honkers brought a lot of pressure, brought the house from the weak side there, but nice tackle by Chris Walter to hold on to him and not let it break for a first down, bringing up a big 3rd down here for the Trojans.
And it's going to be 3rd and long at the 49-yard line, with 5:12 left here to go. And it looks like it's going to be a timeout for Orland, and that's their second timeout.
Timeout called by Orland.
PlayOnSports.com is not only your destination for Friday night football action, but it's also the place for the most comprehensive coverage of high school playoff and championships events in all sports from across the country. PlayOnSports.com, high school sports lives here. And Orland's going to take a timeout to think about it here.
It's been a pretty evenly fought match here so far, Frank. I'll tell you what. Both teams have tried to shift momentum to their sides, either with turnovers or, big plays. But it seems like Orland is the only one who's been took advantage of it so far.
And
really touchdown pass.
Yeah, and I believe the scoreboard reflects that, since it's only 1 touchdown to nothing. And I'm pretty sure the Orland wants to get up by another touchdown here before we go into the half.
Absolutely.
To make it harder for those Honkers.
Looks like we have Rosas out here in the slot position.
And he's going to drop back, and he looks left, and he's going to toss it down the field, and it's way overthrown. And Rosas was the intended receiver on that, and pretty good coverage down there by the Honkers.
Yeah, pretty good coverage, and looks like Long wasn't quite on the same page there with Rosas. And it looks like they're going to need to get that fixed before their next series, because this is going to be a 4th down here.
We have 5:05 left here in the second half, or in the first half, sorry. I don't want to get a hold of myself now. About 4th and 12 to go, and Rosas is going to line up for the punt. And it's going to be Chris Walter back for the return. And he's going to be backed up to about the 10-yard line here. And the punt, and it's a big one. And it's going to take an Orland bounce down to about the 14-yard line. And so with a good punt, it's going to put Willows in pretty bad field position here with 4:54 left to go, but it's still plenty of time to drive down the field, and we know we can do it because we've seen it before.
Absolutely. And, as if you're Coach Ward, you're thinking, we need to bring this all the way down. Don't even give that Orland offense a chance to score right before the end of the half. Keep running the ball and, take your chances on 4th down again, and let's see if they can ground out the clock and tie this game before the end of the half.
And here we go with Sparza under center. And the snap, and it's going to be a handoff, and he has a huge hole he's going to run through, and he's going to be brought down at just about the 1st down, and they're going to give it to him here.
Yeah.
And he made it out to the 25-yard line, and
very nice hole there by the offensive line, though, by the tight end and left tackle. Just straight power football right there, right into that 7 hole. Gets him the 1st down.
And that was going to be Chris Walter on the play, and a very good pickup there. And it's going to be a handoff yet again to Chris Walter, and he's going to see nowhere and try to get back, but he's going to be stuffed. And it's a pickup just about 1 yard.
Yeah, tried to make the nice little cutback there, but he was greeted by a lot of Trojans who got in that backfield quickly. So it's going to bring up a second and 9 here. Nice little play action pass down.
And I think they'd probably want to pass here since time is running out. It's about 4 minutes left here, and it's 2nd and 9. The ball on the 26-yard line.
It looks like that entire Trojans defense is almost in the box right now.
And they're going to hand it off to the big fullback here, and he's not going to go anywhere. Maybe a pickup of just a couple of yards. And it might make it just about 3rd and manageable, maybe 3rd and 6 on the play.
Yeah, 3rd and manageable here, but obviously a huge 3rd down. You want to get this 1st down conversion, not give that Trojans the ball back right away. So I wouldn't be surprised here to see if Orland does bring pressure like they've been bringing pressure with their cornerbacks.
That's going to be 3rd and 7 here on the 29-yard line. 2 receivers out to the right side, 2 running backs in the backfield, and he's going to drop back and roll right, and he's going to pass it down the field, and he's going to be met immediately. And that was Noah Enns. And just a couple more yards here, and it's going to bring out 4th down, and it looks like they might bring out the punt team here. So they're not going to try to go for it again.
No, no, that would be, obviously fortune favors the bold, but if you don't get it here, you give Orland prime field position. Very nice coverage on the pass on that last series by the Trojans. They're not going to let Esparza throw that deep ball, rather bend but not break.
And we're just about 2 minutes and 15 seconds rolling down here in the first half of football. And it's going to be 4th and 3 on the 32-yard line. And it's going to be Isaiah Smith for the return here. And it looks like it's going to be a timeout. Oh, and it's going to be delay of game.
Their second delay of game of the first half here. They're going to have to clean that up.
And they're going to move it back here. And it looks like he's going to punt from just about the 15-yard line. And it's a high snap. And he gets it away, but just barely. And Smith is going to let it bounce, and it bounces back towards midfield. And it's going to be picked up by Juan Mendiola. And that's going to be excellent field position yet again here for the Trojans. And it looks like they're going to take a 1st and 10 on their own 48. So just about 52 yards to get to that touchdown, to get to that end zone to try to put this game away just a little bit.
And they don't even need 6 points on the board here. If you got a leg like Rosas, even if you get within medium range, you can make this still a 2-score game.
Absolutely. And we saw before the game, he was making them from the 40-yard line. He was making them from the 45-yard line. So we'll just have to see here what they do. And it looks like he's going to be stuffed in the backfield here, and there's a late flag on the play by the referee. I'm going to have to see what the ruling is here. And it's going to be a face mask against the defense. And that's not good.
No, that's not good at all. That's a bit of a backbreaker. You get the running back in the backfield there, push Rosas out of range now. This helps extend the not only the series, but puts him in more positive yardage.
And I apologize, it's going to be 10 yards there. And so that puts them at the about 46-yard line, the Willows 46-yard line. It's going to be 1st and 5 on the 47 here. And he takes the snap and he hands it off inside. And he's going to pick up just about 2 yards there. And that's going to be Garzoli yet again with the carry.
Looks like they're going to hurry up to the line here.
And with about 1:26 left here in the first half. No huddle here. And he's going to hand it off yet again, and he's going to pick up, and it looks like they did get the 1st down here at about the 40-yard line.
Yeah, good second initial push there by the running back. Just enough to get him that 1st down, keep that clock ticking, puts him nicely in field goal range.
And that was Kavi Ram on the play. Kavi Ram in motion here. And he fakes the pass, and he tosses it out to Garzoli, but it's dropped. And that's going to stop the clock here. And it's going to be 2nd and 10 still from the 40-yard line.
Yeah, that play didn't have too much going on with Jacob Candelaria right in Jordan Long's face. Didn't give him the chance to set his feet and throw. He's going to bring up a 2nd down. And if you're the Trojans here, I mean, obviously you want 6 points on the board, but you don't have to get too greedy. You can definitely settle here for a field goal and make it a 2-score game.
So with Jordan Long lined up in shotgun here.
You got Rosas down at the bottom of your screen here in the wideout.
And a little jump there by the defense, and he's going to get it off, and it's going to be overthrown, and it looks like a little bit of miscommunication there. Rosas was the intended receiver on that play, and it's going to bring up 3rd down.
Yeah, excuse me, that was Mirsha Rosas on the bottom of your screen. Not Aldrich, my bad. 8 and 9 look kind of similar on the Trojan uniforms. Pretty big 3rd down here to end the second half.
And it's just under 1 minute to play here. And he's going to drop back, and he's got a lot of pressure. And it looks like they're going to rule that one incomplete as the ball touched the ground, and Garzoli was the intended receiver on that one. And that's kind of a lucky break for them because I don't think he would have made it back to the line of scrimmage anyway. But
no, they tried to sneak out a nice little screen play there. Defense sniffed it out pretty quickly, but we do get to see the boot kick for a field goal here.
And that's Aldrich Rosas, number 8. And we saw him make this very easily in practice earlier. And we'll have to see here if
it's going to be pretty close to about 56 yards or so, maybe 57.
And it's a line drive, and it's not going to have the distance here. And so they're going to turn it over right here on the 40-yard line, which is okay field position. And they have just 50 seconds, the Honkers do, to get it into the other end zone.
Yeah, it looked like he tried to power that one too much and then just produce a nice follow-through with his swing. But you know what? That's okay. 50 seconds here. Honkers haven't done too much on offense here in the second quarter, so they're going to need a big play here to get him in scoring range.
And they're going to bring it back here to the 20-yard line. According to high school rules.
Yeah, we'll see if the Honkers be conservative here, but they do try to get that score.
And Esparza behind center. And he drops back, and he rolls out to the left, and he passes it downfield, and it's going to be intercepted by number 12, and it's going to be brought back down to just about the 10-yard line here. And that's going to be Eduardo Briones on the interception. And it was a little bit of an overthrow there, and Connor Fleming bobbled it.
Yeah, a little bit of overthrow, but he did make a nice read on that play at the safety. Ball kind of bounced his way, but second life here and a chance to really put some pressure on the Honkers to end the half.
Yeah, and that's going to be devastating here. With 40 seconds left to go, it's going to be 1st and 10 on the 16. And Rosas is going to be in motion, and they're going to hand it off to Garzoli, and he picks up about 6 yards here, and they're getting pretty close to that end zone.
Yeah, you're definitely in range this time with Rosas with the field goal, but if you're a Coach McDonald, you're definitely thinking about putting 6 on the board.
And with 20 seconds left here on the clock, they're going to hand it off to Garzoli, and he misses a couple defenders, and he gets very close to the touchdown. We'll have to see what the ruling is, and it looks like he's just going to be short here with 15 seconds left to go.
And it looks like they're not going to be using their timeouts. So they're going to just try to pound this in.
And it's about 12 seconds, and the clock is running. And here's the snap. And it's going to be a handoff to Garzoli. And it's going to be a touchdown here. And so the Trojans are going to go up by 2 scores here late in the first half. And with about 4 seconds remaining, it's 13-0 right now. And that interception was just devastating.
Yeah, and that touchdown really took the wind out of the sails of this Honker faithful here. But plenty of football left, but they're going to need to come out pretty strong here in the second half.
And Rosas kicks the extra point, and it is good. And so that's going to make it 14-0 here. And with 4 seconds left, I think we'll just see a kickoff here, and then it's going to be the half. And if you're the Willows coach, what are you going to tell your team?
Well, if you tell your team, you kind of say my bad on that last on that call. Deep in the field position, you're only down by 1 score. You want to get that big score at the end of the half, but that kind of puts your quarterback in a position to try to force some throws, make some uncharacteristic throws. But their defense has been playing pretty well. They got kind of snubbed on the short field right there. But the Honkers have a lot to look forward to in the second half, and they can definitely turn this game around.
And since it's only up by 2 scores, the games we've been seeing lately have been, 4 or 5 scores they've had to overcome. And
right.
So it's definitely manageable.
Right. It's definitely a little refreshing to see a competitive score at halftime here. So I think, the faithful here are a little quieted, but they're going to be ready for the second half of football.
And Rosas with a kick, and it's a line drive, and it's going to drop in front of the returner here, and he's going to pick it up and scramble, and he's running, and he gets by 1 defender, but not the second, and he's going to be brought down at about the 18-yard line, and that's going to do it here for the first half of play. And that's the end of the first half of play with the Orland Trojans leading the Willows Honkers by a score of 14-0. We'll be back in a few minutes with the PlayOnSports.com halftime show. Don't go anywhere. It's Friday Night Football on PlayOnSports.com, your destination for high school sports.
One match away from immortality.
This is a total team effort.
We're gonna come at you.
One shot at this.
One match away from immortality.
This is a total team effort.
We're gonna come at you.
One shot at this.
one match away from immortality.
This is a total team effort.
We're gonna come at you.
One shot.
One match away from immortality.
This is a total team effort.
We're gonna come at you.
One shot.
One match away from immortality.
This is a total team effort.
We're gonna come at you.
One shot.
One match away from immortality.
This is a total team effort.
We're gonna come at you.
One shot.
One match away from immortality.
This is a total team effort.
We're gonna come at you.
One shot.
One match away from immortality.
This is a total team effort.
We're gonna come at you.
One shot.
One match away from immortality.
This is a total team effort.
We're gonna come at you.
One shot.
One match away from immortality.
This is a total team effort.
We're gonna come at you.
One shot.
How about a hand for that marching band?
Welcome to the PlayOnSports.com halftime show, coming to you live from Larry Davis Field in Willows, California. I'm Frank DiRienzo, and alongside me, as always, Nick Dobis. Our halftime score is the Orland Trojans leading 14, the Honkers 0. Sorry for tripping over my words there.
That's okay. Well, so far, in a rivalry game, you expect an evenly matched bout, and that's exactly what we have here, especially in this first half. Both teams had turnovers and made, mental cues and mistakes, but so far it's just been a smash-mouth defensive football between both teams. I think both defensive teams really showed up to play, but it's been the Trojans that have capitalized on the capital field position that they've gotten from turnovers from the Honkers.
Right, and I believe, Trojans defense has definitely come to play here, and even though it's not a huge margin of victory, they've kept the Honkers right where they are, and any inkling of a touchdown by the Honkers has either been stuffed by the defense and forcing them to punt, or they've shot themselves in the foot, and with that costly fumble and with the costly interception down on the right side of the field.
That's right. I mean, not only does the Honker offense really need to get going, but I think it's really going to need to take a huge play from this Honkers defense to really turn the tide of this matchup and really motivate that offense to do something well. I would say look for their defense in order for the Honkers to bring the axe back home to Willows for the first time in 4 seasons.
It's really been 4 seasons. Wow.
That's right. only 4 times. Or it's only been 4 years out of this huge, long 8 and 9 year rivalry.
Right, and not to mention they have a chance to tie this rivalry at 44 games.
That's
Is
right.
that correct?
44 apiece.
And so I'm looking for Willows to come out and try to gain momentum right away, and so they can steamroll through the second half. And by the fourth quarter, they should be trailing by a touchdown, if not tied.
Absolutely. But, I mean, the Trojans have come in. I mean, they haven't really sparkled on offense, but, when they've got their opportunities to really capitalize. Audric Rosas has made some noise with some catches, but Rom had a nice, 35-yard pass from Jordan Long in the first quarter, and then, of course, the touchdown at the end of the second quarter by Garzoli with that 1-yard run.
Yeah, and that Kavi Rom was also a touchdown as well.
Absolutely. So I think for the Honkers, continue to give the Trojans a long field, in order to work from, and they're going to need to make a big play on their defense or special teams in order to help that offense out.
Right, and that can be in the form of a big hit. It could be a sack. It could be, just about anything at this point would change momentum in their favor. Well, that's going to do it for our PlayOnSports.com halftime show. Friday Night Football will return in just a few moments with the start of the second half right here on your destination for high school sports, PlayOnSports.com. watching PlayOnSports.com's presentation of Friday Night Football, live from Willows, California. I'm Frank DiRienzo with Nick Dobus, as always. The Trojans lead the Honkers here 14-0 as we get ready to start the second half of action. And like we said before, the Honkers are going to need to push some momentum their way by in the form of a touchdown or a big play, something to turn it around here.
Yeah, a big turnover here would be huge for the Honkers, just to reverse field position, get them into positive yards, and really get this crowd back in it as well.
And as the player's ready here, and they're going to fake kick it here.
Kind of a wrinkle that special teams try to fake the onside. Could be a factor later in this close ball game.
Right, and number 9 is going to boot it, and it's a pretty good one. And it's going to be back down by the touchdown, and it's going to be ran back, and he has a huge hole to run through, and he misses a defender, and he's still carrying him, and he's past midfield, and he's going to drop down at just about the 46-yard line. That was a heck of a return there.
Yeah, the wall was set very nicely on that return there. Gives the Trojans what they've had for the most part of the second quarter and to start the second half, which is great field position.
And that was Isaiah Smith on the return, and it looks like it was just about a 52-yard return there, and it's going to be 1st and 10 on the 47-yard line here in the third quarter. And the Trojans are off to a fantastic start here, and it's going to be a handoff to Garzoli, and he wrestles his way down to about 45-yard line, and it's going to be a pickup of just about 2.
Yeah, and that nice little belly give has been giving the Trojans some pretty decent second and third downs here. So let's see if the defense can try to pinch that off and try to limit the yards on that play.
And Rom in motion, and he's going to hand it off up the middle yet again. Looks like the same play here. And it looks like he's going to get a couple more yards here. And it's going to be 3rd and short, at least a 3rd and manageable here. And here we go again. It's another 3rd and manageable for the Trojans, and they've really excelled at this all game.
Yeah, and this is the time for that big play that we were talking about earlier for the Honkers. Possibly a sack or even just to force the field goal or punt unit would be huge.
Right, if they could stop him here, it'd be speak wonders to the momentum of this game. And Ram is in motion. They're going to hand it off and pitch it out to Ram, who hits the outside, and he's going to be stuffed, and they do hold him here. He's going to go nowhere. And it's going to be a 4th and 3 at just about the 40-yard line.
Good discipline there by Rodolfo Flores on that tackle. It looks like Ram had a lot of potential to get to the outside and make a play, but Flores made a really nice tackle stayed at home, didn't fall for the juke.
And it looks like they're going to go for it here on 4th and 3rd. This is their first 4th down conversion attempt. And he's going to hand it off up the middle. And it looks like he's going to have enough for the first down. And that shows a lot of confidence in your offense there. And not a lot of confidence in the opposite team's defense.
That's right. And you know what? Garzoli's been getting those 4 to 5 yards a pop. And you know what? That is a good call just because you still have the momentum on your side. Why to give the ball back to the Honkers?
And on the 34-yard line, 1st and 10, and he's going to pass it out to Rosas. And it looks like he's going to wrestle his way just about 7 yards on the carry, or on the pass there, rather. And it looks like it's going to be a 2nd and short here.
Yeah, and Rosas needed all 210 pounds to get close to that yard marker there. He's a pretty good-sized kid and dragged a lot of defenders on that play.
And it looks like the Honkers are really struggling to get anything going on defense here with the snap. And Rosas is in motion, and he's going to fake the handoff and take it himself up the middle. And it looks like he's just at the first down marker, and it looks like they are going to give him the first down here. And it's going to be right at about the 22-yard line, maybe even the 23. And it's going to be 1st and 10 yet again, and they are moving down the field.
Yeah, looks like there was a little bit of a slip-up on the exchange there, but Long was able to make the heads-up play to get the first down.
And Long. And it's going to be a penalty. It might even be a false start here. And it's going to be a false start on the offense.
It's going to be the first penalty of the game here. Wow, the Honkers have 4 penalties in that first half.
And so they're going to go back 5 yards. It's going to be 1st and 15 now on the 29-yard line is where they're going to spot it.
And they're getting kind of in range where they had their first touchdown pass, or their touchdown pass earlier. So let's see if Long hooks up with Rom again.
And it looks like they're going to get on the same page here and bring a receiver to the left side of the field with a single back formation. And it looks like Rosas is going to be in motion. And he's going to toss a little toss out to Rosas. And he breaks 1 tackle, he breaks 2, and he gets brought down to just about the original scrimmage marker. So it might be 2nd and 10 here.
Nice vision there by Rosas, and even better tackle by number 34, Austin Whitney, from his defensive end spot right there to pursue Rosas and from getting him, letting him get any more yards.
And Candelaria was also on that tackle that I saw. So 2nd and 10 at the 25 here with 8:17, 8:15 left in the third quarter, and Rosas is in motion, and he's going to hand it up the middle, and he's going to get just about a couple of yards here, and that's Garzoli yet again. And it's going to be a 3rd and long here. And if you're the Trojans, and if you're this close and you know you're in field goal range, what do you do?
Well, I think if you got the 2-score lead and you're in field goal range, I wouldn't object to them going for the end zone here. You got the momentum, 2-score lead. The worst that happens, you get the first down, or if not, you're in prime range for Rosas to make this a 3-score lead and really put some pressures on the Honkers here.
Right. And what have you got to lose to go for it here on 3rd and 9?
And I think this is the range that Jordan Long is most comfortable throwing in as well. But it looks like they might be backed up here.
And it's going to be a delay of game yet again here, and it's going to be a 3rd and really long now, 3rd and a mile. And they're going to spot it just about the 27-yard line.
Now I think you're changing, your thinking changes here a little bit at 3rd and long. Try to get to that first down marker, but you are obviously still in range for Rosas here to make this a 3-score game. Obviously not looking for the home run, but you know what? Take that nice double.
Right. And the snap is off, and it looks like he's going to pass, and he's going to launch it down the field, and they're going to jump up for it. And Corey Furtado. Oh, sorry about that. Chris Mendoza on the coverage there. It was very good coverage. You got in front of the receiver Rosas there, and it's going to be a 4th and 14.
Yeah, very nice coverage there. Stay with the receiver the whole time. Could have been a jump ball between both teams, but he broke it up nicely to force a 4th down.
Right, and Rosas is going to line up for the field goal here, and they're at the 35-yard line, so this is going to be just about a 45-yarder here. And the kick is up, and it looks straight to me, and the kick is good, so they're going to go up 17-0 here with 7:18 left in the third quarter. So 17-0.
And that's the beauty of having, most high school teams don't have the luxury of having an Aldrich Rosas on your team where you can go ahead and take that 45-yard field goal and extend points on the board. So, for the Honkers here, this is kind of a now or never time for them to produce something positive on offense and get them back in this game, because you can kind of sense the tension in the crowd right now for the Honkers.
Right, and I think a good bet here is for those players down on the sidelines to keep their heads up and keep in this game and don't get down on yourself. And I know that was a problem I struggled with when I was in high school. We're down by a little bit of a margin. You start, hanging your head a little bit. When you start hanging your head, That's when quicksand happens. One mistake leads to another mistake. And,
Absolutely.
Let's hope that isn't the case here.
And that's when you see the true colors of a team, though. It's easy to be, a good, solid, cohesive team when you're up 17 points. But let's see what the Honkers can do down 17.
And the kick is away, and it's a good one. And it's going to be a touchback here. But it stays in the field this time. And it looks like it's going to come back out to the 20-yard line. And the Willows are going to take over again here, and let's see if they can start to get something going here.
Yeah, that Mercedes on the fence line is safe for now, but we'll see.
And like you said, with the true colors, teams when they're behind, that really shows their true colors. It's the same in boxing. Boxers only show their true colors when they're stunned,
right?
So.
And that's true. And I mean, this crowd looks a little stunned right now. But the Honkers are going to need a big haymaker here to get this crowd riled back up and back in this ball game.
And here we go. Esparza is ready here. And the snap, it's going to be a handoff to the big fella, and he's going to go just about 2 yards here. And that was going to be Candelaria. Big Candelaria on the run there.
Yeah, it looks like the Trojans are going to keep in that defense that they had in the second half, where they moved their safeties into the box, really forcing the Honkers to be one-dimensional here and bait them into the pass.
And so that was about a 4-yard pickup. It's going to be 2nd and 6 here on the 24-yard line with 6:40 here left in the third quarter. And here's the snap. And it's going to be a handoff again to the right side. And he's going to get stuffed just about the line of scrimmage. It might even be a loss here.
And that's never a good sight for your offense when you see 2 or 3 offensive linemen on the ground with 2 or 3 defensive linemen all over your running back. Looks like the Honkers are going to have to, sustain their box a little bit more in order to give their position players a chance to make a big play.
So he did go nowhere on that one, but it's still going to be 3rd and 6, and that's a little bit more manageable here. But, this is the true fact right here. This is where we see their true colors if they can convert 3rd down. They've already converted a 4th down. And so we'll have to see if they get it done here. And it looks like it's going to be a pass play. He's rolling out left. And he's looking. He's going to toss it down the field, and it's intercepted by number 42, Charlie Tice. And, well, that's not going to get it done. But Charlie Tice with excellent vision there and concentration to pull that one in. And just an awful throw there by Esparza.
Yeah, they tried to go out with that rollout pass that they've been working from in the second half, but it looks like Trojans defense made some adjustments, and Tice made a beautiful pick to want to give the Trojans awesome field position.
And here we go, long. 18, and it's going to be a toss-out to Kaveh Ram, and he's going to pick up just about 3 here on the little pitch.
And if you're a Honker fan, you got to be really nervous about this possession here, because this could potentially be the nail in the coffin for this Honker squad.
So it's going to be 2nd and 6 on the 15-yard line now, with just about 5 minutes rolling down here in the third quarter. And Rhodes is going to be in motion, and he's going to fake the handoff and take it himself, but he's going to go nowhere, and the forward possession on that, I don't think it was much.
Not very much, because I think the Honkers' defensive line and their size in general is what's keeping them in this ball game. Nice push by the defensive line to get in the backfield.
Right, and that was a good push by the defensive line there, and so they stuff them on 2nd down, and it's 3rd and 6.
And I mean, even if they hold them to a field goal here, it's still a 3-possession game, 3-score game.
And he's going to roll out left, and he just gets the toss off, and he completes the pass, and it's another touchdown to Justin Smith. And it looks like they're going to go up by another touchdown here. And excellent vision and excellent range there by Justin Smith. to pull that one in because he had a defender all over him.
Absolutely, and that comes to the accuracy of Jordan Long, really putting that ball in the money while he was running. Great play all around by the Trojans offense.
So it looks like it's going to be 24-0 here. And so far it's been a bit of a drubbing here. The Honkers offense is going by the wayside with the turnovers here. And that's a trend we've seen in at least the games we've called in the last 3 weeks. But we haven't seen anybody carted off the field, so I guess that's good.
That's always a good thing. Luckily, we haven't been too much of a curse this week and haven't seen anyone cart off the field.
Yeah, right.
But
we were thinking we were cursed there for a second.
Yeah, but that does seem to be the trend. Is the team who's had the lead has really asserted itself in the second half, and it looks like the Trojans are doing just that here.
And I think that speaks to the momentum. Once you get that first score on the board, and once you stop a possession on the defensive side of the ball, it goes a long way towards your psyche, and it builds you up, and it builds everybody up, and everybody draws on each other. And as you can see, with Long there, that was another reception by another receiver. Mm-hmm. That's about 5 he's tossed to tonight.
Absolutely. He's really spreading the wealth around, and just like last week's game at Las Plumas, Las Plumas came out and threw, interception after turnover, whatever. Let's hope that's not the case for this Honkers team and they find a way to get back in it.
And here's the kick again, and it looks like it's going to be in the field this time, but it's still a touchback, so that's going to go as the 4th touchback here, or 3rd touchback, as we can see. And so they're going to take it out at the 20-yard line.
PlayOn Sports is on Facebook and Twitter, giving you the news and information and links to great highlights. Follow us on PlayOn Sports. Follow us at PlayOn Sports on both Facebook and Twitter. You can also access thousands of live and on-demand games on YouTube and at youtube.com/PlayOnNetwork. Keep up with all the high school action every week from your destination for high school sports, PlayOnSports.com.
Well done.
Thank you. Had to get that in there.
Right. And so Esparza, he's going to toss it down the field, and it's going to be short, and it's going to be Chris Walter is going to be the intended receiver. And Esparza hasn't looked comfortable since just about the first quarter here.
No, he's really had to scramble a lot for his throws, and coaches really tried to help him out by a lot of rollout passes just to get him comfortable with his feet. But if he wants to make some really solid throws, he's going to have to regain his confidence in the offensive line, which also needs to sustain their blocks.
And I think the coaches are going to have to realize that and make plays for him that's going to boost that confidence, yet lessen the difficulty level.
Absolutely.
And here's the snap again, and he's going to toss back, and he's going to launch it, and it's going to be overthrown by everybody. And it looks like that's going to be Steven Johnson, the intended receiver there. And there was 2 defenders there, so, that speaks to the, the decisions of this quarterback. He's losing the grip a little bit here. But, I mean, that can all change, with one big play.
One throw can really change the outcome of a game, and he just needs that one completion, and that completion is really going to have to come on this 3rd down here in order to keep the Honkers at least in relative position to still win this game.
And so Esparza drops back here. It's going to be another pass play. And he launches it down the field, and it's going to be overthrown yet again with Steve Johnson. And intended for Steve Johnson yet again, and that's going to bring up 4th down and 10. And it looks like the punt team's going to come out here, and it's another 3 and out.
Yeah, unfortunately, another 3 and out for the Honkers. And at the end of the play there, you saw the offensive line kind of looking around at each other like, oh, why didn't you block your guy? Why didn't you block your guy? But, as a whole offensive line, the whole line has to be scratching its head why its quarterback got nailed right there.
Right. And the punt is away. And it's coming towards us, and it's going to roll at just about the 50-yard line. He's going to try to return this, and he's down the sideline, and he breaks a tackle, and he breaks two more, and it looks like he's going to be stopped at just about the 34-yard line here with 3:44 left to go. And so they have excellent field position yet again. And what do you think of that decision to try to run it?
Well, it was kind of an interesting decision. I think he knew he had a free play there because there was a roughing the kicker penalty on that play, which either way the ball was going to be coming back.
Oh, I had missed that.
Yeah.
But with our press box here, I kind of missed the little corner of the field right here. So
yeah, the angles are a little tight on our press box, but it looks like that's going to be a huge break for the Honkers. Looks like it was Tice trying to get the big block there to really, lay the hammer down and get the touchdown, but unfortunately it's going to be first down for the Honkers.
And that was Dylan Hill who tried to make the return there, but to no avail. And with the roughing kicker penalty, that'll give Willows an excellent opportunity here to try to get back in this ball game.
Yeah, that might be the play that saves him from cardiac arrest right there, so we'll see what happens.
And so he drops back here, and he's surveying the field, and he's going to launch it down the field. And they're both going to go up for it, and it's going to be a tip drill, and it's going to be intercepted yet again here. And he's going to run it back, and he's across midfield, and he's going to get tackled. And there's a flag on the play yet again. And he came back to the 47-yard line here. And that's going to be Arturo Nelis. And we'll have to find out what the penalty is here, but it might be an interception here, unless it's on the defense before the interception happened.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure there. It looked like a pretty clean play, but looks like I guess the defender was holding on that play, guarding a little too closely on that.
It's going to be an illegal block in the back on the defensive side, so that return is going to be nullified, and they're going to bring it back 5 yards past the spot of the return. And it's going to be first down here at the 30-yard line. Their own 30-yard line now.
Right.
And that's it would be devastating if the score was more close, but, I mean, they can afford to have that penalty.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But who it is devastating for is the Honkers, who second consecutive turnover.
And the ball is loose here, and it looks like a Honker might have jumped on the ball, and, yes, they are going to give it to him. And so a huge play here on defense is going to give him excellent field position, and they're going to take the ball here at about the 25-yard line. So this is where the Honkers are going to have to show us what they're made of.
Absolutely. Ask and you shall receive sometimes, and that's exactly the gift they needed on that one. Excellent field position. I mean, a touchdown doesn't look real fancy on the scoreboard with the score, but you know what? Could be the momentum maker they need.
Right, and if I was a football team down by 24, I would want to try to avoid a shutout as much as possible.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
It looks better with a little 7 on the board than a 0.
Absolutely, and they're still carrying over the shutout from last year as well, so they really want to put points on the board.
Right. And here we go. Esparza is going to drop back, and he's going to toss it, and it's caught by number 21, and he slips a defender, and it looks like he's going to gain just about 13 yards there, and he's going to bring it down to just about the 13-yard line. And that's going to be 27. Stephen Johnson on the carry, on the catch, and looks like that fumble recovery is giving him a little boost here.
Yeah, and that nice little pass there by Esparza is going to give him a little bit of a boost too. More of a pass well within his range, within his comfort zone, helps the Honkers march here.
And here we go as the Honkers knocking at the door here for the first time in this game. And he's going to fake the handoff, and he slips one tackle, and he rolls out right, and he throws it to the back of the end zone, and it's going to be caught by number 3, and he's going to get the touchdown. And that's going to be Chris Walter on the touchdown there, and just a beautiful pass and great awareness by Esparza on that one, and they get the touchdown they needed.
Yeah, they definitely needed that one. Great escapability once again by Esparza, and he found Chris Walter in the back of the end zone right there for wide open, just standing there doing jumping jacks. So great vision by Esparza to find his man right there. And you know what, this is exactly, the crowd's a little bit back into it now, so let's see if Mother Momentum can keep cooking for the Honkers here.
Right, and I mean, that's exactly what they needed at this point in the ball game, because we have 2:13 left in the third quarter, and they're going to have maybe 3 or 4 more chances to try to tie this ball game. And so it looks like they're going to go for it here. And Esparza rolls out, and he's going to get stuffed in the backfield, and it looks like the 2-point conversion is not going to be successful. So it's only going to be 24-6, but the Orland Trojans are still going to lead here.
Yeah, still kind of an interesting call there to go for the 2-point with a lot of time left. You obviously need that extra score, but I think you could have found it in the later in the game, and hopefully that 1 point doesn't come back to bite them. But
right, and I would think you would want to push that 2-point conversion later in the game.
Absolutely, but you know what? You got 6 points on the board. You cracked the goose egg, and something positive to take from this. And who knows? Maybe that defense can make another big play. It'll be interesting to see if Long and his center can figure out that the quarterback to center exchange, because it didn't haunt them in the first half and first part of the third quarter here, but obviously bit them right there.
Right.
And while we have a minute here, just for those of you who are streaming online, big shout out to John Shively, watching the broadcast all the way from Yale University, a alumni here at Willows High School. So thank you, John, for logging on to PlayOn Sports and watching this broadcast.
Yeah, and thanks for tuning in. You're probably our only fan right about now. And it looks like it's going to be an offside kick, or an onside kick, and it didn't roll far enough, and nobody can touch it here. And that's going to be, well, usually it's a penalty, but I'm not sure with high school here.
Yeah, that was kind of a curious play there. I don't think even the officials really knew what was going on with that play. So.
Well, it didn't go far enough, and none of the Willows touched it, but then they finally did, and so they'll have to take it right.
But that was good call there by Coach Ward. Try to get some momentum, keep the ball on his side, but now he's going to need that defense to step up big once again.
And here we go, Long, and the shotgun again, and Rose is going to be, and he's going to get stuffed behind the line, maybe even to the line of scrimmage.
That was,
maybe that is some of the momentum showing its face right there.
Absolutely. I think number 33, Jeffrey Bateman, was feeding off that momentum right there with a nice tackle in the backfield, getting his nose dirty, causing the 2nd and long.
As Jordan Long gives the play to his players here, his teammates rather, and it's going to be a little misdirection play with Rosas, and he's not going to get far, and it's going to be a 3rd and long here with just about 1:25 here left in the third quarter.
Yeah, try to go with a little misdirection there, try to, stop the speed of that linebackers right there, but the defensive line made some nice adjustments and stopped the play dead cold right there. And it's going to bring up a 3rd and long here for the Trojans.
And with about a minute to go here, we're waiting on the snap. And Long's going to take it, and it's a little bubble screen out to Rosas. And he misses a defender, and he's going to spin around to just about the 43-yard line, and he didn't pick up much there. And it looks like it's going to be a 4th down and 8, or maybe even 7 here, with 35 left in the third quarter. And it looks like it might be a 3-and-out, and yes, Rosas is going to line up in the backfield here, and so it's going to be a punt for the Trojans.
Absolutely. It's going to be a punt here, and And Rose tried to gallop for that first down on that one, but they're going to be looking for him to put the ball within the 10-yard line here and really force the Honkers to put together a nice drive.
Here we go with the snap. It's a high snap. And he gets it off just barely. And it's going to take a Trojans bounce to inside the 10. And that's going to end it here in the third quarter. And so Willow's starting to bite back here in the third quarter.
Yeah,
and this could be the turning point of this game.
Yeah, it showed some signs of life there. Got the turnover, got the nice touchdown pass, and looks like it's going to be the traditional third quarter jump that they do here. The Honkers trying to honk up this crowd and get them back in this ball game. But yeah, a good momentum shift there. They get the ball back. Only 12 minutes left in this game, but stranger things have happened in the sport of football. So hopefully we have an exciting fourth quarter here in Willows, California.
Right, and it seems like this game is flying by.
Yeah.
All our other games have been, 3.5 hours, 4 hours, and, we're only at an hour and a half right now, and we're already past the third quarter.
Yeah, this game has gone really quickly, mostly just because it has been a running game for the most part. Not too much going on in the passing game, which would but, yeah, a lot of grinding it out and whatnot, and we'll see how this fourth quarter goes. And hopefully if it makes it a little bit closer, we'll be here jumping with the fans here for a little bit longer. And I think the home crowd would like to see this game go a little bit longer than just 12 minutes here.
Your Willows High School boosters, tricaps are still selling 2 for the price of 1. If you're hungry, water not.
And we're waiting for the fourth quarter to here to start, and it looks like the Honkers are going to get it about the 7-yard line here, and with the officials' whistle, we're ready here.
And if you're a Sparza, you want to make that big play, but you got to be careful with the ball here. You don't want to give the Trojans very good field position again.
And here we go. It's going to be launched, and it's going to be by everybody.
See, and that's the kind of pass I was talking about there. Trying to go for the home run ball, which obviously would be a huge play, but well threw over his receiver and almost intercepted by Rosas right there. So he's got to be careful with his balls here. Make the smart pass, keep the ball in your possession, and let the receiver make the play.
And Chris Walter was the intended receiver on that play. And it looks like they're going to come out in a 4-receiver set in shotgun. We haven't seen this yet, this formation. And so he's going to take it from shotgun here. And the snap is away. And it's going to be a draw up the middle to Kyle Wyckoff. And he's not going to get very far here.
Yeah, but I do like the play call there. Try to, spread out that Trojans defense and get some positive yards here to give your quarterback a little bit of maneuvering room here on third and long. So I couldn't imagine another rollout pass here by Esparza, and one of the receivers is going to need to make a big play.
Right, and with that 4-receiver set, that's going to spread out the field, and so they thought maybe a draw would draw those defenders off of them, off the middle, out of the box.
Looks like they're in the 4-receiver set
and
again.
It looks like it's going to be a huge blitz here, and he's going to throw it away. Wow.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it did go out of bounds, but that is the right play if you're a Esparza. Nothing going on there. Unfortunately, it will bring up the 4th down, but it looks like we have a penalty, or excuse me, an injured player on the field.
And Victor Raygoza just flew past the Willows line there, and with a huge hit, and he just powered through his block, and that's why Esparza had to throw it away. And with the injured player, the clock will stop here. And we'll have to see how serious the situation is. The coach is out there right now talking to him, and the assistant coach is now headed over.
Hopefully it's not too serious here for the youngster, and he can get off the field on his own ability.
And he is lifting his head up. And so that looks positive here. And we'll have to find out here who the injured player is. And the referees are going to go over here. And as I was looking around, and it's going to be number 62, Jose Chavez, and he has popped up here, and it looks like he might walk off the field under his own power, and he is, with minimal help from the coaches.
Yeah, it looks like he might have gotten rolled up on that left leg. He's walking off it pretty gingerly, but hopefully it's not too serious, and hopefully we can see him later on in this ball game.
Right, and it looks like he's wearing a little bit of a cat. Oh, no, that's just his sock there, but, well, we hope he's okay. And unfortunately, I didn't see how it happened, but we hope the best for him.
It's probably a part of that huge blitz package that the Trojans threw at the Honkers right at that one.
Yes, and they brought everybody. They brought the Iron Curtain there.
It's going to be a dangerous punt here from his own end zone.
Yeah, and it's going to be 4th 11 here from the 5. And he's going to kick it, and it's not going to get to midfield. It's going to be caught right about the 37-yard line. And he's running, and he's going to be turned around, and it's going to be about the 28-yard line. So the Trojans are going to have excellent field position here yet again. And they have about 28 yards to make another stop, and that's well in the range of Rosas and his leg. And so it looks like a pretty much sure shot for either a field goal or a touchdown here.
Yeah, if you're the Honkers defense, you have to be thinking turnover at this point, especially with your team down 24-6. Rosas can just chip it in to make another, extend the lead by 3 points. You got to get the ball back here some way, somehow.
Right, and the Trojans have had 2 fumbles already this game. And with 11 minutes to go, and he's going to hand it off here. Oh, he's going to fake the handoff and take it himself. And they're going to be all over him. And it's a pickup about 3 or 4 maybe.
Yeah, and if you're Coach McDonald, obviously, the ball is in your court. You're going to try to grind out that clock. Maybe try to go for the game ender for the touchdown here. But if not, like I said, you got that nice security blanket in Rosas to make those easy 3 points.
And here we go. Long under center, and he gives it to Grizzoli, and he's going to pick up the first down here with a pretty good run there to the left side, and he had a huge hole to run through.
Yeah, that was one of the first, if not the only time that the Trojans lined up in a kind of power formation right there with a true fullback. But nice push by the offensive line, nice pickup by the fullback as well to get the first down. And it looks like they're going to go back to that pistol shotgun formation.
And he's going to hand it off here. And it's a pickup of about 3 yards. And that's Benito Garcia on the carry there, one of their other captains on the team. And we haven't mentioned his name very much tonight, but they're getting him involved here in the 4th quarter.
Yeah, they've Trojans' offensive line has really kept him in check for most of the game, which if you're Coach McDonald, you're pretty happy about. See if they try to go for the end zone here on this play.
And it's going to be a handoff, and he's going to be stuffed in the backfield, and it looks like it's going to be a loss there. And very good penetration by the defense there. And they're going to take a loss, and so it's going to be a 3rd and maybe 7 or 8. It looks like 8.
Yeah, that was Jacob Candelaria back in the backfield there from his linebacker position. Might be running a little bit of fumes here in the 4th quarter here, but this defense is trying to hang strong and at least make this a respectable ball game.
And Orland's hasn't really given him a chance to breathe in this game because the defense have been on the field most of the time.
Yeah, they have been on the field a lot, and it's starting to show that they're a little tired.
And it's going to be a handoff and a pitch, and he loses the ball, and he picks it up, and he still gains positive yardage here. And it looks like he's going to pick up just about 2 yards.
Yeah.
And that was Zach Garzoli there. And so what could have been a potentially disastrous play turned into a positive one. And even though it's 4th down, we have Roses, who know this is a chip shot for him here. And it looks like they might go up by another field goal here as the field goal unit comes on the field.
Yeah, the ball has been bouncing figuratively and literally Orland's way for most of the night. So good heads-up play there to save the play and set up a field goal.
And with that, some of the fans have left here. They're filing out. And here we go. The kick is up. And it's going to be no good.
I think.
And so Roses booted it there. Maybe the laces were in. I'm not sure.
I think Rosas is also pretty tired too from being on the field almost virtually every play, which can definitely happen to a kicker. You think you got a lot of confidence in the big leg, but when it comes down to these late quarters, Rosas is going to get tired, and it might not be a big factor right now, but closer ball games later in the season, coach might want to think about limiting his plays in order to save that leg for the 4th quarter.
Right, absolutely, and we saw the same thing 2 weeks ago when we were calling the game that time, and he had also missed one in the 4th quarter, and I think his explanation was that he was a little tired.
Yes, that's right.
So it definitely wears on him when you're playing 3 ways, special teams, offense, and defense. So the Willows Honkers will take it at the 20-yard line here, and Esparza drops back, and he's looking, and pump fakes, and he's going to pass it to number 27. But it's not going to be caught by Steven Johnson. And now it's going to be 2nd and 10 with 7:48 left here in the game.
Yeah, and it looks like the Trojans aren't going to bring as much pressure, but rather sit in that zone and let Esparza make the accurate throws and stuff, which he's been on and off so far tonight.
With 2nd and 10 on the 20-yard line here again. Esparza is going to line up behind center. And with the snap, he's going to drop back, and he's looking, and he's going to toss it down the field, and it's caught by Steve Johnson, and he's going to try to get around the defender there, but he's going to be stuffed, and he's going to have the 1st down there, and excellent hands to hold on to the ball, and he was creamed by Mersha Rosas.
Yeah, good hands right there, and as you said, good tackle by Rosas to not let him slip out of his fingers and really pick up a huge gain there. So it looks like the Trojans primarily are going to be thinking about bending but not breaking with this nice cushion they have here with about 7 minutes left in this ball game. And no real sense of urgency here by the Honkers. Obviously you want to get the right play call in, but not really hustling the line, just letting this clock kind of melt away.
Well, I'm thinking they're probably just going for another touchdown here and maybe just be content with that, and they're not going to try to overplay their players here. And he's going to roll out, and he's going to toss it down the field, and it's going to be intercepted, and he's going to be intercepted by the 3rd time by Mersha Rosas here. And that is probably the final nail in the coffin here with another interception. That's his 3rd of the game. And Rosas is looking like he might be the player of the game. He already has 2 of them, I think.
Yeah, he might as well. either him or I believe either his brother or some other relations. The two Rosas playing safeties back there. Yeah, this defense has really showed up to play tonight. And I wish I could give all the defensive players the player of the game, because hats off to the entire squad.
And it's going to be a handoff to Garzoli, and he's not going to get much. It's going to be a 2 here, and it looks like they're just going to try to wind down the clock here. And with 6:30 coming up here in the 4th quarter, it's going to be 2nd and about 9.5 on the 32-yard line.
Yeah, and I'd also think about Charlie Tice as a player of the game. Not only did he have the interception right down there to start the third quarter, but he also had the interception at the end of the second quarter that really shifted momentum in this game.
No, and I'm sorry. I thought that was Rosas that time, but it was Tice. Okay. And it's going to be a fake handoff, and he's going to be stuffed in the backfield, and Long is going to be stuffed here. And it's going to be a 3rd and long coming up. And that clock is still winding down. About 5:50 left here in the fourth quarter. And some people are starting to file out here.
Yeah, unfortunately, it doesn't look like the Axe will be returning to the Willows faithful here. It will be another season.
And here we go again with that pistol shotgun formation here. And here's the pass, and he's going to pass it out. And it's going to be incomplete to Justin Smith, number 82.
He's also had a pretty nice ball game as well. Caught some pretty nice balls and had that touchdown in the third quarter.
And that's going to stop the clock at 5:21 here with 4th and 13 to go. And it looks like Rosas is going to go for it here at the 35-yard line. And from where he's kicking, it's going to be about a 52-yarder here. And so he's getting close to that section record there. And we're going to have to see how well he rested up this last little drive.
Yeah, not sure if he's going to get it tonight, but he's got a really good chance to get it this season.
And the kick is up. And it's a high one, but it's not going to have the distance. And so he's going to miss his second field goal in a row here. And so that's going to keep the score right where it is, 24-6. The Trojans with 5:15 left here in the fourth quarter. And the Honkers are going to take over at the 20-yard line.
Yeah, you can tell Rosas is a little frustrated with himself right there. But you know what? He's a young kid. He's a young, strong kid. Just keep on kicking those balls, and eventually they'll get in. You know, he's very athletic. Also, as we mentioned earlier, a soccer player as well. So he's going to have to make a decision whether he wants to play football or soccer someday.
And here we go, Esparza with the snap, and he's looking, and he's going to launch it downfield for Johnson, and it's going to be intercepted by another Rosas here, and he's going to take it all the way back, and he jumps a defender, he jumps 2 more, and he's going to be tossed down here at the 15-yard line, and that's going to be Esparza's 4th pick of the game. He tried to get it out there to Steven Johnson. And that's the final nail in the coffin here, and as more folks start to file out here.
Yeah, and
from the home team.
And in reality, the Honkers really haven't had that pass all night. The Trojans came out with pretty much, you know, we're going to cover the deep, let's tackle the short, force Esparza to throw those bad balls, and the game plan's worked out beautifully for them.
Right, and it's going to be fumbled in the backfield, and the snap was bumbled there, and we'll have to see where they're going to go, and Willows will recover. So that is another turnover here in this game, and I'm counting just about 7 or 8. So it's been a lot of turnovers here, and
particularly the second half as well. It's gotten a little bit sloppier. You know, it's kind of hard to pick a player of the game with all these turnovers for the Trojans. I don't know if I want to go with Tice or number 9, Mirsha Rosas, who I believe that's his second interception of the game as well.
That was the other Rosas there, Aldrin Rosas.
Well, when they had the
number
twin,
8, the safety there.
When they had the Twin Towers playing safety back there, it gets a little confusing.
Right. And here we go. He's going to roll out right, and he's going to pass it. And it looks like it's going to be caught here. And that's going to be to Briones. It's going to be complete and a pickup of about 8 there with 4:30 left in the game here as we're winding down. And he's going to pass it out here, and it's going to be overthrown. And that was incomplete for Noah Enns, was the intended receiver on that play. And it's going to be 3rd and 2 on the 23-yard line here in the fourth quarter, and it's about 4:02 left in the game.
Yeah, and unfortunately, even though it doesn't really reflect on the scoreboard, the Honkers do hold the most wins in Northern Section history with about 500 here. So even though they won't be bringing home the Axe tonight, or even just a W in general, they do hold the record for, I believe it's 500 over 500 wins, and they were the first in the Northern Section to 500 wins.
And he pump fakes, and he's going to launch it downfield, and that was for Steven Johnson, but it was overthrown.
And just like, the beat goes on for these the secondary for the Trojans, just step by step with these receivers for most of the night. The Honkers receiving corps really hasn't gotten a chance to really break out and make a play. Trojans defense has been definitely smothering them all night.
So that's going to bring up a 4th and 2. And I'd go for it here. What do you got to lose now?
Well, at this point, yeah, what do you really have to lose? I mean, besides how the score looks, but it looks like they might be doing that just right now.
There we go. Esparza back, and it's going to be a blitz, and they're going to hand it off to the outside, and he misses one defender, and he drops the ball, but they're going to call him down here at about the 32-yard line, so he's going to pick up the first down, and that is going to keep the clock rolling here as soon as the chain gang gets set up here again.
Yeah, nice little pickoff there by Wyckoff, to the little scoot to the defender there. And as we've been saying throughout the weeks, when the score is kind of like this late in the fourth quarter and it doesn't seem like there's much to play for, there's always something a team can improve upon. So if I'm the Honkers, yeah, it's disappointing to have the loss, but got to keep looking forward to next week.
And with that, it's going to be a timeout with 3:48 left here in the game. And it's going to be a 1st and 10 on the 33 once they get back out there and start playing again. While we have a timeout, I want you to stay tuned for the PlayOnSports.com postgame show where we will select our player of the game as well as wrap up all the action from this ball game. That's coming up following the game on your destination for high school sports, PlayOnSports.com. And as we're waiting here for them to call their timeout, or to get through with their timeout here, and it looks like he's going to do a couple personnel changes.
And it looks like the Trojans defense hasn't made too many personnel changes, so it looks like most of their first team is still in, trying to preserve that 6 points score.
And it looks like Greg DeChowry is in, and he's going to run with it with a little option play there, and he slips a tackle, and he gets it out to just about 44-yard line, and he's close to the first down. And that was a good little option there.
Yeah, absolutely. Made a very nice read, made the pitch right at the right time, right before contact. And the running back really picked up some positive yards there and really showed some speed out of the backfield, which we haven't seen too much tonight. I believe that was little 21 Noah Enns, who did have 175 yards rushing last week, so not too much of a or in week one, excuse me, but not too much of a factor this week. And it looks like
DeSherry
is going to be brought down in the backfield right there.
And I was just making sure we can get a good pronunciation of that name there. And it looks like DeSherry's going to, it looked like he was going to come back out, but he's going right back in.
And is that just me? I don't know if you can see it at home too, but it looks like number 3 is wearing a black uniform, unless my eyes deceive. Oh no,
your eyes
do
deceive.
It's just this window. This window's a little foggy right here, so it kind of changed the tint. I was wondering what that was all about.
Not the facilities. They're nice enough to have us here.
They definitely are. They've been very welcoming.
With 2:09 left on the clock, he's going to get sacked in the backfield, and that's going to push him back even farther. So it's going to be a 4th and a mile here. And the clock is going to still run here, and it's about 1:53 left in this ball game.
And that kind of caps off a pretty complete performance by this Trojan defense. They've really kept the Honkers quarterbacks off balance and really gave an opportunity for that Trojan secondary to make some key interceptions. And it looks like they're going to be punting the ball away here on 4th down with about a minute and 20 seconds left.
And it's going to be a punt, and the punt is away, and it's going to be caught at just about the 45-yard line, and he's going to make it all the way back up to the 40-yard line, the Willows 40-yard line, and that's going to stop the clock at right at a minute. So we have a minute left in this ball game. People are starting to file out here, and like we said, it's 24-6 here. And so Orland's going to have a 1st and 10 at about the 40-yard line here.
Well, besides having a loss last week, it looks like the Trojans will be bouncing back and getting back in the winning side of the column record at 2-1, while the Honkers will drop to 1-2.
And here we go. Jordan Long is ready, and the rest of the Orland Trojans. And he's going to hand it off here, and he's going to pick up just about 4 yards here, Garzoli. So they're going to keep their starters out there for the 4th quarter. I'm not sure if they have enough enough players left.
Yeah, but at this point, if you're Coach McDonald, you might be thinking about, getting that victory formation together and taking some knees. But then again, this is a guy who likes to go for it and really put points on the board. So we'll see if he kind of tries to rub it in here on the rivals.
And it's going to be a handoff to Garzoli yet again. He tries to make it outside, and he's only going to pick up just about 2 yards, and he's down on the play. And that's going to do it here, I think, with 15 seconds left to go. And just about 5 seconds here, so I think they're just going to call it here.
Yep. And that concludes the Battle of the Axe, which will remain in Orland for another season.
Right, and with the sound of the gun, that's the end of the game. So, ladies and gentlemen, we invite you to stay tuned to our PlayOnSports.com for our post-game coverage. We'll wrap up all the action in our post-game show, and we'll have an interview with our player of the game. That's coming up in just a few minutes. Once again, the Orland Trojans have defeated the Willows Honkers 24-6. On Friday Night Football on PlayOnSports.com, your destination for high school sports.
We can get a player up here.
Oh, that's good stuff.
All right, perfect. Prepare a Wiley Ballard graphic.
Do you want me to start the stream?
Start the stream. Camera 3. Beautiful. We're coming in on 1. For more information on how your school can join the Play On School broadcast program, go to playonsports.com/SBP.
Welcome to the PlayOnSports.com post-game show. We're working on getting an interview with our player of the game, Charlie Tice, number 42. And he was a factor in this game on defense. And, you know, if we could give player of the game to the entire defense, we would here. And he plays for Orland Trojans. He had 2 interceptions, and he showed a lot of good vision out there, and I'm sure he had a bunch of tackles too, and we'll get the stats for you coming up here soon. And as we're working on getting an interview with him, this defense just annihilated the Honkers here. And the final score was 27-6. And we'll hope you stay with us with the PlayOnSports.com postgame show as we have a live interview with our player of the game, Charlie Tice, that's coming up on your destination for high school sports, PlayOnSports.com.
We can get a player up here.
Oh, that's good stuff.
All right, perfect. Prepare a Wiley Ballard graphic.
Do you want me to start the stream?
Start the stream. Camera 3. Beautiful. We're coming in on 1. For more information on how your school can join the Play On School broadcast program, go to playonsports.com/SBP.
And welcome back to PlayOnSports.com's coverage of Friday Night Football. I'm joined here by our player of the game, Charlie Tice, who not only had a couple big interceptions, but was just an overall disruptor on that field today. Charlie, what was the game plan to contain this Honkers offense?
Well, we were trying to key up on tight ends and slots because we knew Willows like to run to the sidelines and stuff.
Very good, very good.
Pass rush.
Yeah, and what do you think was the big play defensively for you guys to really turn the tide? I know you guys had a lot of turnovers, but was there one play that really stuck out there?
I think my interception before the half when we punched in.
Yeah, absolutely. Big momentum changer there. And also your offense had a really nice game. Looked like Jordan Long was really facilitating the offense, getting everyone the ball. And that's got to be encouraging for a defense like your guys' to see.
Yeah. Him and Zach Garzoli and Audric Rojas mesh real good. All 3 of them are playmakers.
All right, excellent. And I know it must feel really good to have the Axe, keeping the Axe here back in Orland. But what does this rivalry personally mean to you?
Well, for as long as I've been playing high school ball, we've been 4-0, so it's good to keep it that way. I'm glad.
Keep the winning tradition going.
Yep.
That's right. All right, well, thank you, Charlie. And that's going to wrap it up here for the player of the game. Stay tuned for our post-game show.
Thanks, man. Good job, man. Yeah.
We can get a player up here.
Oh, that's good stuff.
All right, perfect. Prepare a Wiley Ballard graphic.
Do you want me to start the stream?
Start the stream. Camera 3. Beautiful. We're coming in on 1. For more information on how your school can join the Play On School broadcast program, go to playonsports.com/SBP.
Welcome back to Willows, California, and the PlayOnSports.com post-game show. I'm Frank DiRienzo alongside Nick Dobis, and we just saw the Orland Trojans defeat the Willows Honkers by a score of 24-6.
Yeah, you know, I think both teams honestly came out ready to play, but no one more ready to play than that Trojans defense. Our player of the game, Charlie Tice, and his group really locked down the Honkers for the most part on offense, except for that about 25-yard pass from Esparza to Walter in the third quarter. Other than that, it was pretty much lights-out defense for the Trojans.
Yeah, and I absolutely agree there. And the Willows Honkers just couldn't get it done offensively. No matter how good the Trojans were, they were just shooting themselves in the foot as far as blocking, as protecting the quarterback. It was a lot of things gone wrong.
Yeah, and they didn't really give their defense much of a chance as well, because the Trojans mostly had some awesome field position throughout the game, especially in the first and third quarters there. So that's obviously – so they have some potential to do some good things on defense, but as long as the offense, keeps turning the ball over, that's going to be a problem for them.
So what do you think Orland Trojans are going to do from here on out now that they have this big win under their belt?
Well, they definitely do have some things to clean up. There's definitely some penalties and turnovers, especially with the center to quarterback exchange. That's something they definitely wanted to clean up before they start getting into the meat of their league schedule and whatnot. But I think if this defense can keep playing the way it has been playing, Jordan Long looks like he's been starting to click with the offense, trying to get a lot more guys involved rather than just Garzoli. So, Division II champs this year, they ground out another win and continue to another championship.
And
hopefully.
I think if you really look at championship teams, especially at this level, high school varsity level, that if you spread the ball along not only to your good players but to your other players as well, it goes a long way with keeping them healthy and keeping you in the game for longer and doesn't tire out your best players.
Absolutely. And I think Willow is still, their size is going to really keep them in a lot of ball games and win them a lot of ball games. So I was really excited about this matchup, and it was a little disappointing that it wasn't a little bit closer, but it was kind of fun to be kind of written into the history of this rivalry, which has gone back for decades.
Right. And so the defense is the main theme of this contest here. And that's going to wrap it up from Larry Davis Field here in Willows, California, where the Orland Trojans defeated the Willows Honkers 24-6. We'd like to thank you for joining PlayOnSports.com's coverage of Friday Night Football from Willows, California. Be sure to check PlayOnSports.com for information and links to all of our upcoming broadcasts. For our producer, Ron Borges, our videographer, Daniel Luna, and my partner, Nick Dobis, I'm Frank DiRienzo saying so long, and we hope you'll join us next Friday night on your destination for high school sports and Friday Night Football, PlayOnSports.com.
One match away from immortality.
This is a total team effort.
We're gonna come at you.
One shot.